Okay, welcome to this Thriving Thursday, Humaning Well Together. And what's Feast of the Soul has completed, we are continuing on because I became aware a little while ago about the opening that we have, the opening of a more expanded awareness when we've been meditating for a period of time, and particularly when we've been meditating in large groups. And I sense that with the world, the media we're hearing is slightly a world of chaos, even though I think we secretly know that there's a lot more of us actually doing peace work, inner peace for outer peace. But there is a sense that we need to protect ourselves. We need to protect our energy fields, this beautiful field of energy that radiates within us and around us, the ones that we sense into when we meet others as we become more sensitive. So I am going to invite Emma Legg, who's going to lead a meditation to unmute. And Emma, I'd like to introduce you, if I may. And what I'll do as I'm doing this, I'll put us both onto Spotlight. Oh, drat, I've done it again. Hang on, here we go. Spotlight. That's Spotlight. So Emma and I are here together, and thank you so much for coming on, Emma. Some of you who've been on Feast for the Soul. Last year, Emma did a beautiful meditation called Cloak of Protection, and she's going to do that again today. So Emma is a registered nurse and also a Queen's nurse with the Queen's Nursing Institute of Scotland. And Emma's professional nurse lead in leadership. And after this, we'll talk a little bit about the Queen's Nursing Institute, which was started by Queen Victoria and Florence Nightingale. So we've got a long history. The Queen's Nursing Institute of Scotland is a Scottish charity, and they develop there is a 9-month development programme for community nurses and midwives to develop skills to those who are deeply committed to making a difference in their communities, particularly those who work and live in areas of deprivation and are marginalised by society. And I do know, Emma, because we've done quite a bit of work together, haven't we? Is that the communities that you do enter are communities that the nurses need to be aware of their own safety, their own energy field, and this Cloak of Protection meditation is one that is at the very beginning, isn't it, of the Queen's Nursing programme. So thank you so much for coming, and I'm going to hand over to you, and then we'll join together again after the meditation. So over to you, Emma.
Thank you so much, Sue, and it's just lovely to see you all. Good evening, good afternoon, good morning, good whatever and wherever you are at this minute. It's a real pleasure to be here to share this meditation with you. As Sue mentioned, I lead a development programme for community nurses and midwives, and we use this meditation at the outset, and I'll talk a little bit about that very briefly before we go into the meditation. But it really is a pleasure to be with you, and I'm dialing in from sunny Scotland, from Fife in Scotland, which is just a little north of Edinburgh, and it's still fairly light here. We're quite north, so it's quite light still, even although it's 5 p.m. So it's wonderful to see you all. This is, as Sue mentioned, is a meditation that we use at the start of our development programme each year, which coincidentally starts on Monday. We welcome another cohort into the programme. And as we embark on the journey of discovery together, each person is invited to explore how they might become the person they need to be to make the changes that they want to see with those that they work closely with. And as Sue mentioned, it can be a fairly challenging, super rewarding place to be in community nursing or midwifery, but it can be challenging both in terms of those that we're here to support and what we may come up against within a day, given where people can find themselves, but also within that work environment too, having to kind of manage change within health and social care, having to manage systems that are changing and don't have money to run the way we would like them to. So there's lots of reasons why individual nurses and midwives find they need that layer of protection, and that needs to come from within. So for each of us on the programme, particularly, finding that psychological safety and co-creating spaces is really important, and we need to be real and brave if we're really going to explore some of that, and that starts with self. So this meditation really starts that conversation. The Cloak of Protection meditation, is something that you can use in a variety of different situations, and there are lots of different, slightly differing versions. But it really does help if you are experiencing any kind of doubt or uncertainty, and you just need to feel that you're being held and that you're safe in that space. And it's something you can use as well in an abbreviated form. So there are 2-minute versions if you just want to kind of get into a space very quickly. As with all practices, once you've kind of got used to how this feels and looks, you can find a shortened way to get that sense of safety. And that's what it's about, really, being able to create that sense of safety in the moment when you need it. So I would like to invite you to become still and make yourself comfortable. Feel your feet resting on the floor. It may be a carpet or a harder floor underneath, but just feel that connection with the earth beneath you. And if you would like to, I'd invite you to gently close your eyes. If you don't feel you would like to do that, that's absolutely fine. Perhaps you just like to lower your gaze comfortably and bringing the room into a softer focus. And feeling your body supported by the chair or the cushion, stool, whatever you're sitting in, gently bring yourself into a posture that for you embodies attentiveness and relaxation. Your head balanced evenly on your shoulders and your hands comfortably in your lap or by your side. And now let's focus on our breathing. Breathing in and breathing out. And with every breath, getting deeper as you slow your breathing down. Don't force it, just naturally allow your breathing to slow to where it feels comfortable for you. And sense the arc of your breath as you inhale and you exhale, noticing the points where you feel your breath most just now, perhaps at your nostrils, the back of your throat, your rib cage, in your belly. Feel each breath go deeper through your body. Let it flow down to the tips of your toes and back up again to the very top of your head. And as you exhale gently, imagine all the tension is leaving your body like a fine grey mist. Let your breathing and your breath find its own rhythm in a way that feels comfortable for you. Aiming to get your breathing as slow as you possibly can, whilst keeping its depth and its rhythm. And I'd now like you to pay attention to your in-breath. With each in-breath, imagine a ball of light appearing over your head. And as you breathe in, the ball gets larger and brighter as it spins above your head. It is yours, an extension of you, and it gets bigger as you inhale with each breath. And you can fill it with more and more light. Now imagine that as the ball of light spins, it starts to radiate, and with each breath, the ball fills with colour. All the colours of the rainbow appearing in your ball of light, spinning faster over your head. And paying attention to your in-breath. Keep a natural and comfortable rhythm, breathing slowly and deeply. And with each in-breath, bring more and more beautiful colour into your ball of light spinning over your head. In your mind's eye, watch as the ball spins and the colours radiate above you. Breathing in and breathing out. And pay attention to your feelings. Breathing in, filling with colour. Now, as you breathe out, let the colours begin to flow down through your body. Gently switching your attention to your out breath. Focusing on the ball of light with all its colours. With each out breath, feel those colours moving down through your body, gradually emptying the ball of its colour. And deep breathing. Relaxed, warm and safe. And imagining those colours wrapping themselves around you, gently and softly. Breathing in, and as you breathe out, letting all of the colours drain from your ball of light and sense them wrapping all around you. With every out breath, feel a cloak of colour gently forming around your body, cocooning you in colour, making you feel safe and warm. And let's stay in this place for a few moments. Breathing in and breathing out, visualizing all of that colour surrounding you, wrapping you in its safety, its warmth, and its comfort. And pay attention as you imagine that cloak. What does it feel like as it holds you safe and warm? Is it cloud? Is it mist or fabric? Silk or fleece? Feel it against your skin and the colours surrounding you, your own safe cocoon protecting you. And as you continue to breathe in and out, feel the cloak become a part of you, It is your skin. It is your body. It is you. Protecting you, keeping you safe and helping you to be strong. And now, breathing in and breathing out, slowly reconnect with your environment, with the space that you're in just now. Taking comfort from the cloak that is now part of you. Gently and in your own time, open your eyes if they were closed. Take 2 deep breaths in and out. Lengthen your gaze. Focus on something far away. Let your body move in whatever way it needs to. Sense where you need to stretch right now. And gently release your sitting posture. And coming back to our group on screen. Namaste.
Thank you. Thank you. Well, it feels so beautiful, so comfortable and warm. Should we just rest here for a moment and we'll have just a short conversation afterwards. Thank you. So Emma, I'm going to keep recording this if this is okay with you, because for me, the Queen's Nursing Institute really exemplifies the best of nursing, the best of care, the best of collaboration, of co-creativity, and being a nurse myself, not registered any longer, but still once a nurse, always a nurse, as they say, and a district nurse at that, community nurse. I really appreciate that the situations that your team, your nurses are increasingly going into. So this cloak of protection is one I'm sensing that whilst it makes you safe, it makes you bold, but it also makes you very mindful and very careful. So when you're stepping into these various situations, your awareness is expanded, isn't it?
Yeah, you're absolutely right. So there is that sense, and again, nurses won't have 15 or 20 minutes to practice this prior to going into their never-ending caseloads that they may have that day. But if they have practiced this, they can very quickly draw on that cloak. They can bring it out from within, wrap it around them. And I think you're right about feeling bold too. There's something about feeling protected and safe from what's out there, but also a sense of protection against what you need to then go in and how you need to be in that space. It's not always easy. So there's lots of power that you can draw from that sense of feeling. Particularly, we support community nurses and midwives, and you'll know yourself, so it can be quite isolating. You're not standing amongst a team. You're very much through the day on your own, facing situations in people's homes, outreach clinics, all sorts of different environments. And so you need to draw on something because you really only have yourself in that moment. So it's a really useful tool. And as I say, if you can quickly remember that cloak, remember you have the strength within you. You just need to remember it's there and put it on, as it were. It can be really, really powerful.
And the feedback from the nurses, what sort of feedback do you get that they're able to just?
Well, yeah, absolutely. They're able to do it. And I think what we do next week is we take participants on the program and we teach this, we talk through this, we practice it together. And so it's another tool that they have. They won't always have the time to quickly get into that space, but they do, and they can find shorter versions. But I think just knowing that that's there as a tool in the box for when and as and when it's needed, it's really useful. And nurses do tell us that they just feel emboldened, and through time they don't need to go through the whole meditation and bring it all to the conscious. It's just there, and they can very quickly react in sometimes a split second situation where they feel vulnerable and less strong.
And I'm thinking that whilst it's being used by the nurses, there's many people who are offering volunteer services, people in education, excuse me, who would really benefit from this awareness as well.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. It's got applications all across, really, I think, for younger people as well and children. And there's versions that you might use and words that you might use to convey what you're trying to help someone to get into that space. But yeah, it's really super.
Become your own superhero for the children. Would you share a little bit about the history of the Queen's nurses regarding the royal warrants?
I can indeed. So way back, this is the shortened version, but way back in 1887, in fact, the Queen Victoria had a Jubilee celebration, and she was given lots of money and support and things, and she had some money left over from that, and was looking for what to do. She'd had enough memorials to Albert built around the place. So what came to her attention was a rich merchant called William Rathbone, who was worked in good circles with Florence Nightingale and others, was very much aware that his wife was ill and she was looked after at home by a nurse who came in and provided care at home. And he felt that this care was worth its weight in gold. And he was very aware that ordinary people, the then term sick poor, would not have the ability to pay for this. They couldn't afford to have that kind of care at home. So what him and others convinced Queen Victoria to do, and I don't think it took a lot of convincing. Queen Victoria was very charitable and very aware of the way citizens were living around the country at that time, was they founded the Queen's Nursing Jubilee Institute. And really what that was set up to do was to train nurses. So nurses were trained through the institute to look after people in their homes, not in a hospital setting, but the challenges that are found within the community. And nurses were trained in midwifery and the then health visiting model and nursing, so that they could be triple trained to go out in the Highlands and Islands, parts of Scotland and England. But a couple of years later, it was set up, and the Scotland version is what I'm far more aware of because of the remote and rural way that Scotland is laid out. And so from then on, trained for many years Queen's nurses. And then when 1969 came around, the NHS then took responsibility for training district nurses in the district nursing programme. So the Queen's Nursing Institute ceased to train nurses in that way, but they kept their charitable aims very much alive over a kind of 50-year period or so. And then in 2017, there was a reimagining of the Queen's Nurse programme. So what we do now, and this is the 9th year, is we take 20 or so nurses from around Scotland, clinical experts who are doing really important work. They're nominated by their employer. We take them on a 9-month journey. And throughout that, they work on an issue that's really important to them around healthcare and equity. That's a really important part, because that is what the charitable aim was all those years ago, and it still is today. It's amplifying the voice of those in our society that are less well heard, less well represented, but who are nonetheless as deserved as anyone else of the care that's out there, but they often don't know it's there, often it isn't there, or they don't know how to access it. So these nurses come forward from places like prison services, addiction, homeless services, mental health, schools, communities, anywhere you'll find a nurse working in the community or midwife. And they'll come and say, this is unfair. I'm seeing this is happening and it's unfair. Help us to make this right, or to start to address this. And so they come with this issue and we help them tackle that issue. But crucially, what we do is we say, you're not alone. One person is unlikely to be able to make this change that needs to happen. So who else do you need to bring on board with you? Whose voice haven't you heard? Who do you need to recruit and convince and persuade And nurses are generally pretty good at doing that when they have a bit of support behind them and time to do it. And from there on, these projects very often take a life of their own because they're thought through and they're sustainable, and they've got the support of the organisation behind them. So that's how that works. And nurses tell us that even just being nominated and coming onto the programme, they feel more valued, they feel important as they are. And a big emphasis throughout the programme is self-care, self-awareness, looking after yourself, identifying what helps you to flourish at work. Why do you come to work? Reconnecting with those values. Very often nurses have been nursing for years and years before they come to this process, and they've lost track a little bit along the line with what is it that they're doing this for, because it's not an easy job. And they feel reinvigorated and ready to go and continue to do the wonderful work they're doing. I said that was a short version. That wasn't particularly short. Apologies. I could talk forever. I'll stop there.
Oh, thank you. It just reminds me when I started nursing that the Florence Nightingale quote was given to us, and we had to learn it. It was quite easy to learn, and you just exemplified that. Was the quote is, "The role of the nurse is to put the patient in the best possible condition so that nature can act and healing occur." And it's all those little words about being patient, hence why we call patients when we, we become unwell, the conditions that we are creating. Because in the day, obviously, there was not the medication and the surgeries that there are now, but we still need to create those conditions, don't we, of safety and that place where that sense of belonging and moving from isolation to the collaborative approach. And when we put all those different elements in, healing, which is created from within, cure from given to you from without, healing can and does occur, and that this is still present, you know, from 1880 whatever, is fantastic. So Emma, thank you. We could talk all day, but that you've given us a really good a picture. If anybody wants to know more, I'll post it within this recording, but it's the QNIS .org.uk website. So I'll post that. So I'm wishing everybody who's watching this recording a beautiful day and evening, and we'll see you next week.